I didn't mean to say all those things I said.
You're literally suffocating.
Levi's officially lost his mind.
Dude. I mean, he has no respect for boundaries.
Derek is kind of a dick.
I want anxiety to take it slow. Get the millions and lay low.
Really weird too, like weird.
Hi everybody, I'm Carson Malone. I'm the CEO of College Filmmakers, and today I'm super excited to be joined by Ryan Fletcher and Aaron Pittman, the creators and stars of the new series, They Were Roommates. Welcome, guys.
Hey, thank you for having us.
So I'm super excited today to talk about the series with y'all, and I just wanted to start out by, hearing a little bit about it. What's it about, and just a little bit about the series.
Basically what They Were Roommates is about, it's about two friends, very close individuals who from different positions in their life come to be roommates. And then it's just them discovering new things about themselves that are both annoying, irritating, and funny all at the same time, while we all just sit back and watch. So yeah, that's basically what it's about.
I would say it's like a series about just being completely passive aggressive. So yeah, like it's just all those passive aggressive things, like whenever someone bothers you, but you don't really want to call it out. I know from like my college days, it was always like that with my roommates. It was like, that bothers me, but I'm probably not going to say anything. So it's like, it's kind of like those situations and like that way of communicating.
Very neat, very neat. And if I'm not mistaken, the series is available, season 1's available to watch on Facebook, and season 2 is coming very soon, right?
So March 24th is whenever season 2, episode 1 is gonna drop.
Whoa,
Very neat,
really?
very neat.
It's happening!
And how did this series come about? What was that process like?
The series came about, it was like Aaron and I in my apartment, and we're like, I think it was during COVID, like the tail end of like, COVID and within 2021. And we were in Texas at the time, so it wasn't like super hardcore. And we were like, we need to make something, we just need to do something so we can stay creatively alive. Mm-hmm. And we're like, what can we do with just 2 actors and keep it minimal and just keep like a story that we could consistently continue to make? And we ended up landing on like They Were Roommates. It first evolved, like we weren't sure if we wanted it to be about a story about a relationship, and then it kind of became, we'll make it friends and we'll see like what we can do with it from there. And it's like something that's so relatable and so easy to pull off of, and everyone has 1,000,001 experiences with roommates.
From what I understand, you guys are heavily involved in both production and physically acting and performing in the show. What kind of challenges does that bring, and also what's some nice things about being a small crew and a small creative team?
So yeah, being there were headaches at times, and when it was just us two, we were both like on camera, in front of the camera, behind the camera, everything that we needed, we basically did ourselves just within an apartment space. It was nice being just the two of us for all these different roles because we were able to move at our own pace, and it was very effective, very productive for us. We were able to like really go as well as we could, but also, we'd have to, there's moments you can actually see in the blooper reel that we have to like remember, oh, are we in the right outfits, or what shot is this? I need to write it down on the marker. So we just had a lot of different things to juggle while also remembering, oh yeah, I have to actually get in front of the camera and do this scene as well. So although it was chaotic at times, I really enjoyed the process just because at the end of the day, it was like our project, our like creation that we were making all the decisions on, and I really loved that we had that creative freedom. And at the end of the day, I was just basically hanging out with Ryan most of the time, and I guess he's okay, so it wasn't a total loss.
Whenever I'm not stressing out on set of like, we have 17 more shots to do within the next few hours, it's it can be some enjoyments in there, and we had gummy bears on set, so we're just chewing while we're planning shots and setting up, and we had a nice pace going. I think on set it was like, with us, like Aaron kind of had each outfit planned for each episode and where outfits would change, and we had a very detailed production schedule that was probably the only way we were able to survive. We were marking off as we go and being able to plan it based on, all right, which room are we shooting in, which outfits, and do we need an outfit change? So we were trying to like jam it in. So we're shooting this entire season completely out of order while having to have these lines memorized and organize the entire visual production of the shoot. So there's a lot of balls to juggle within a short time frame.
I just got to say, I really loved season 1. I thought you all did a lot of great things with it. Each episode was a lot of fun to watch, and I felt like your performances were spot on, true to the character. You guys, I think, shaped a unique voice from the get-go. So congrats on that. And I just wanted to maybe hear a little bit about how y'all first started working together and that process and how you've kind of evolved in your creative relationship.
How much time you got?
Yeah. Origin story right here, right?
Exactly.
I feel like it feels to start off with, I was directing this like series of fight scenes, and I needed an actor that I could really rely on to be the to be the main character, to kill 3 people. And I asked out to a friend, and she recommended me to Aaron, and I shoot Aaron a message. And Aaron, I'm sure you have your own experience with these series of messages.
Oh, well, yeah. So I had recently just got done directing a 2.5-hour play the semester before with an undergrad. And my friend, our friend Christina, who had reached out to me saying that Ryan had a project that he was working on. And I could have said no several times because I really didn't want to do any projects that semester. But I don't know, something in me was like, sure, why not, just do it. And then when he was texting me about it, he said, you okay with a 5:30 a.m. call time? Again, it could have said no at any time, but I decided to be who I was.
It's purely consensual.
Like, sure, let's do it. And so, I did it, had a lot of fun on set while doing it, and then, later on as Ryan and I became acquainted as friends, he had an ending narrative he had to do that semester, which I was also in with him. And after that process, like working together, I was just on a lot of different projects that he was on, mainly as an actor, until finally I stepped into a role as an assistant director, like all at once, really. I just like did it. And then once we realized the dynamic between director and assistant director worked for us, then we were like, okay, we found someone we can really rely on each other to make creative projects, and so we just stuck it out since then. And so ever since then, we've just been like, what can we do next? And then that's what led to this thing. So yeah.
I feel like you guys do have a really great creative dynamic, and I was kind of wondering, what things do you think are important to have in a functioning relationship for producing partners specifically?
I think it's a lot of clear communication, just being like very direct and being like, this is what we need, this is how we need to get things done. Especially when it comes to the deadlines of a production hitting, you got to be extremely open and extremely honest about where you are emotionally and everything within a project. So I think with Aaron and I, there's a lot of communication while still maintaining our friendship, which is such an important detail to us, like, that it's friendship first, and then it's these projects that we do every day. So like I think that like keeping that friendship alive, which keeps our whole entire creative like flow going. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. You said it like that. I mean, I agree. We have like I was gonna say clear communication at the beginning too. Like we've just been honest with each other about what we're doing, where we're at, and things like that. And also we've been very flexible. I think flexibility is a really big part of it. Where if we're not meeting a deadline because of like personal things that are going on, like that's where Ryan said our friendship comes first, which it does. Like we understand each other personally to that point of like, if we need a later date, that's okay, and we can usually make it work. So I think that's what makes our dynamic so great, is that we're both able to tell each other, hey, is it okay if we do this at a later date, or what if we had this idea? And we're both open to each other so much to be like, yeah, that works for me, or we'll just have a clear conversation about it. And I think that's where the big communication comes in, because if we didn't have that, probably wouldn't do anything. So yeah.
It's almost a willingness to communicate and be honest with that communication.
Like I think like almost the trust, like, I can trust that I can be honest with Aaron, and and that I can have him, like I can rely on him as well. Like if something's coming up and I really need to deal with this, I know he can step in and take over a lot, and then, and vice versa. Like we're able to kind of fluctuate within each other's roles to get a production done.
That is true, and especially even on set, that's a thing where if one of us is doing something and it's taking longer, and we just ask the other person, "Can you move this light?" or "Can you
get this going along?"
Yeah, like we just end up doing it, and that's what just makes it cohesive. And that's what makes it work for us.
Agreed. I think that's what speeds us up on set and keeps us going. And I've seen that even on our larger sets. I put Aaron in charge of everything. I'm like, you run the show. I'm just gonna work, you know what I mean? I'm gonna do my thing and get things moving. And then Aaron's the one managing everything. He's even managing me. And he's like, Ryan, you gotta keep it up. You gotta move. Let's go. You know what I mean? So I rely 100% on Aaron for time, production, and just everything in general when it comes to management skills. He's got it.
So I want to shift gears a little bit and start to talk about your characters, and specifically, is there any aspects of your respective characters that you find are true to yourselves, or you find you can kind of relate to?
There are parts of Ethan that are similar to me, but there's a lot that's not. The like when Ryan said it earlier, the passive aggressiveness, that's not me at all. When it comes to anything roommate-wise, because I personally have 2 roommates here where I live, and so when it comes to any like issues or anything like that, I'm usually a very direct human being and very honest to being like, let's just talk about this. Well, as an Ethan in the show, you might see he's not as direct about these things, and he goes in a very different direction, which is funny. But I would never do something like that personally. But I can definitely relate to some things like, like the cleanliness and things like that. Like, yeah, I really like that. And so some of those moments are genuine for me, but I think there's a lot of distance between me and Ethan as people sometimes that I can appreciate them as I can appreciate Ethan as a person, but I don't know if I would live with Ethan personally.
Fair, yeah. No, I think for Levi, what I really like about him is kind of what's really fun about it and to play is like the fact that he's so unaware of people's emotions, and because I think I'm a person who's like super hyper aware. I know when someone's upset, I can kind of feel it, but the way he's completely unaware of Ethan's emotional state and how things affect him, I think is just so funny. And he thinks that things that what he considers to be right and good and fun isn't always like across the board, right? And he doesn't consider that. So I think there's a lot of fun moments to play, and maybe I am like that a little bit spacey, a little bit in my own world, But with Levi, and what I'm excited about season 2 is that we have so much more time to develop these characters. We're the episodes are twice as long to 3 times as long. So we have more time to dig into them and just have fun with it and stew in those kind of moments and who they are, and all those little quirkiness.
Very cool. Besides, a longer duration for episodes, is there anything else about season 2 that we can expect in terms of, shifting the series around or any new changes?
Yeah, definitely. So besides them getting longer, which has been a huge thing that people have given me feedback about when watching the show, they just want more. They want to see more of these.
Which is a great thing.
Yeah, it's a very great thing to want to see more of these individuals. But I think with these episodes, the biggest shift that we're gonna get is these plot lines are gonna get a little bit thicker per se, as in there's going to be more complex issues with them as roommates than just the surface level things we've been seeing in this first season just to get a foundation. Mm-hmm. And now that we have that foundation, we're able to build up and really dig into who these 2 people are and how their decisions are really truly affecting each other. And it's pretty funny. I think it's pretty funny as far as what's gonna go down.
Yeah,
so,
the jokes are higher, the drama's higher, everything is just on another level from season 1. And when Aaron came to me and we were writing it, he's like, I want to make it longer. Let's do twice as long. And I was just thinking about the production days, and I was like, oh my god, and when we wanted to do a higher level, bringing in more characters, bringing in different things. I don't want to give away too much, but different things that would elevate the episodes. And I was like, okay, we can make it happen, and we did, and we shot it in the same exact time frame. And it blows me away to even think about it, because to me it's all one giant haze. We didn't sleep, we just shot the entire time, and and you can't tell, and you know what I mean, that we're just completely running on gummy bears and running on no sleep, you know.
Gummy bears. That's an interesting
To
feel.
be clear, we had more than gummy bears as things on set.
We had some pizza, I think. There was Chipotle, I think, cilantro, you know, those different the things that the food sources that kept us going.
Yeah.
Sponsored
Yeah,
by.
sponsored by. Please sponsor us. That's
gotta plug the sponsors. So, shooting season 1, shooting season 2, do you feel that the first season is always the hardest to get through, and after that you can find kind of a flow or a groove in terms of shooting?
Well, just in terms of like, first of all, in terms of writing, it's definitely, I'm getting into more of the groove of how this plot and this storyline is going to work for these two, because, you know, season 1, we were just trying to introduce these people to the world and like some of these issues, but now in season 2, now that we're able to work with more content and things like that we can put into it, I think we're just going to see like a lot of deeper issues that we're tackling within Roommates. As far as like production goes, Ryan, what you guys say about that?
Yeah, no, I felt like we really found, I mean, it hasn't come out yet, but I feel like we really found our voice in season 2. As far as like with the characters and with the storyline, I felt like it was all, like it all kind of fell into place, and it felt really, really, really good. And seeing the edits and seeing the episodes, I was like, man, this feels just on another level, and it feels more real, it feels more authentic, and it has that same voice, but it has something even deeper to it, which I love. And I think people, if you liked season 1, I think you're gonna love season 2.
Yeah, Ryan kind of said it earlier, but just the stakes are much higher than season 1 as far as like the conflicts go and the drama that's in there with all those funny moments. You'll see just like right out the gate, as soon as like the first episode, you'll see like it's just so much different, and so I'm really excited for people to actually see that new shift to the show.
So, my favorite episode and favorite moment in season 1 was the painting. I don't know why. I had to watch it like 3 or 4 times because it was just really funny to me. I thought that was a great premise. So is there a story behind the painting, and how that got introduced? And also, what is some of your favorite moments from season 1?
It's a great question. So for me, I think I'm the roommate that brought in some ugly artwork into my apartment back in the day. And I was just like, I would just slam it up, and then everyone kind of dealt with it, which was amazing. It was really nice of them. And then it would eventually get moved around, and I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. I could have swore it was over there. And then eventually it kind of ended up in my bathroom, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess we'll just leave it here. But to see the artwork slowly make its way around subtly and in a more communicative way, I thought was kind of hilarious and kind of an homage to this episode. But it's my favorite episode as well, so I'm glad that you liked that one. I think we went a little bit crazy on the editing and tried to take it to another level, and I think a lot of season 2 is like that episode. As far as favorite moment, I think I really like, there's a couple of moments in Work From Home. The episode where Aaron's character, he goes to work a lot, and my character Levi, he seems to just kind of like lounge about. I never really get dressed for work. I just kind of like always at home working on my computer. And I love the part where I'm on the Zoom meetings, and Aaron's character Ethan is you know pouring cereal, and then looks over, and then he's like opening up one of those food, like granola bars, and then he rips it and it spills out everywhere, and then he's like like I think it's absolutely so hilarious. And then he pulls at the vacuum, and that was something we found on set, and then you'll see it a lot in the bloopers reel if you've seen it, but Aaron just kept on cracking up laughing every time he'd pull up the vacuum, and he just like, it was such a sequence that I love that entire episode, and that sequence of the passive aggressive and just kind of like all of Ethan's actions in that episode.
Yeah, that you know, there are some moments. I think my favorite moments from the show are the ones you'll see in the bloopers that are just rough to get through. Probably my favorite moment, just from a production standpoint, was the moment where we're at my doorway in TFTI talking about like being on the same page when people come over and whatnot. We could not get through that scene for the longest time, and it's mostly my fault, to be honest. And then, you know, you'll see in the bloopers when I'm there, I'm ready. Ryan's the one, like, losing it now, and I'm like, we'll never get through this scene. So, as far as, like, a core memory for me, I would say, like, that moment specifically is probably my favorite from the show, just because I know so much behind it and whatnot. So every time I watch the actual scene, I'm like, wow, we're really going. But yeah, I would say that's probably my favorite one.
Y'all have done a lot of short films and a lot of more one-off forms of content. How does, you know, developing and shooting a series really differ?
I think there's a lot to consider. I mean, how we shot it was probably closer to how you'd shoot a short film, all bunched up, shoot everything at once throughout the entire season, and that was the way we could do it within budget. But I think for a short film, you have kind of less to consider, because we're kind of acting as showrunners on this, you know, where we have to consider not only does this align within the future episodes, but does this align with the future of the season, voice-wise and how it's shot, and you know, it all needs to be continuous from season to season, from episode to episode. So we had to make sure that how we're shooting this episode is going to match up with the rest of the season, and the storyline things that we change, perhaps we ad-lib, won't change any prospects within the future of the season. So there's a lot more to consider, right? And within the world of the show, you're taking, like, what I would say a short film would be like a small moment of a larger world. And in this, we're taking a larger chunk of that world and we're expanding it out, and we need to keep on being able to increase it if we want. So we have to consider all of that. We have to consider the world, and we have to consider the voice, the tone of everything.
So for me, personally, I find it to be a lot more fun, just because, you know, it's creating this world. Now, you do that for all films, of course, but like Ryan said, you have less to consider when you're just doing a one-off project. That could be continued later, but you never know. But because we're doing a continuous show, and it's also content that people definitely relate to, it's just really fun going through the, like, puzzles of, like, what kind of story can we do next that people are definitely gonna be like, yep, that's my roommate, or yeah, that's me. And I find that really exciting, just because it feels like such a mundane topic of just roommates. But I don't think we always consider all the hilarious mishaps that happen as roommates, and how a lot of these stories come to be, because, like, a lot of the writing in season 1 and 2 are pulled from personal stories from people we know, and, like, our stories as well. So I really love that we get to, like, display those stories out for everyone. So having a series compared to just a one-off project is just way more fun for me, just because there's so much more that goes into it. I get to just continuously keep working on it. So I love that.
It's funny because you almost set up my last question that I had for y'all, which is great. I'm just wondering, you know, what at the end of the day do you hope your audience and your viewers take away from the series, from the characters, their relationship?
The things I want people to take away from this show is that, you know, a sense of community around some of these issues. Like, you're not the only one that's having these things happen. And so if you're really thinking in the moment, wow, like, this is such a unique situation to me, you're probably not the only one, which is both, like, sometimes unfortunate, but also really funny. And so I want people to get that sense of community, that we all know what kind of roommates some people are, but also I just want them to get a laugh out of it, because I feel like, especially right now, we're going through so many serious events in today's world that we want to, like, pull back and just watch something for the hell of it that's funny, or that you can definitely relate to. So I want people to just take those stories on, tell their friends about it, and hopefully some of our mistakes in the show as these characters will make other people not have as many mistakes as roommates. And I'm just hoping people are just way more communicative than these two people are a lot of the time, because they're a mess, to be honest. So yeah, that would be for me.
I would say for me, the takeaway would be to have anyone laugh, to have anyone kind of relate to the story, in the series, and to the characters. But mostly the laughs. And if someone's poking at and being like, that's you, like if you're watching it with your roommate and you're like, that is totally you, that is like what you do, that is the best thing possible. That we couldn't ask for more.
So Ryan, Aaron, thank you guys so much for coming on today and talking with us. Once again, congratulations on season 1. I think it was a smashing success, and we are more than excited to see what is in store for season 2. I think it's going to be a fun experience.
Yeah, thank you, Carson, and thank you, college filmmakers, as well.
Thank you, college filmmakers. We love you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.